Not every truth wants to be revealed. Are you ready to open the file? Over the past several years, reports of unidentified objects in the sky and moving over water, collectively known as UAP, have been increasing. These phenomena are not only observed by ordinary citizens, but also recorded by pilots, radar systems, and military equipment. Recently, in the U.S. state of Vermont, a lawmaker proposed creating a state-level task force to investigate these phenomena. This marks a rare case in which a state is proactively establishing its own system to monitor UAPs, rather than relying solely on federal reports. This raises important questions. Why does Vermont want to create a UAP task force? And what does this mean for aviation safety and the public? According to the proposal, Vermont's UAP task force would consist of representatives from security agencies, aviation experts, scientists, and organizations responsible for managing airspace and waterways. The main mission of this group is not to search for aliens, but to collect reports about UAPs, analyze radar data and visual evidence, determine whether these objects pose a danger to aircraft or vessels, propose risk prevention measures. In other words, UAPs are treated as a transportation safety and security issue, rather than a supernatural phenomenon. Vermont is a state with many large lakes and relatively quiet airspace. Because of this, any unusual object that appears is more likely to be noticed. In recent years, there have been reports of flying objects that make no sound. There have been cases of strange lights appearing over lakes. Some civilian pilots have said they saw unidentified objects while flying at night. Although there is no evidence that these phenomena pose a threat, unidentified still means not completely safe. The lawmaker proposing the task force stated, "We cannot ignore things we do not yet understand, especially when they involve airspace and waterways." At the federal level, the Pentagon already has programs to study UAPs. The U.S. Congress also requires regular reports on these phenomena. However, federal reports tend to be broad in scope. They do not focus on individual local areas, and they usually prioritize military zones. Vermont argues that the state needs its own data. The state needs its own procedures. The state needs to take proactive steps to protect its residents. This is why a state-level UAP task force has been proposed, as a local link in the system for monitoring unidentified phenomena. The most important point emphasized by the task force is this: UAP does not mean aliens. UAP simply refers to phenomena in the air or over water whose nature has not yet been identified. They may be civilian drones, military equipment, atmospheric phenomena, sensor errors, or rare natural objects, Only a small portion of these cases remain unexplained, and that does not mean they are supernatural. It simply means science does not yet have enough data. Here is the English translation of your text. If the UAP task force is approved, Vermont residents will be able to report unusual phenomena through official channels, avoid being dismissed as imagining things, contribute to a scientific database. More importantly, pilots can receive early warnings. Boats and ships can be informed about areas to avoid. Authorities can more easily detect illegal drones. What was once a mysterious phenomenon becomes a matter of risk management. If Vermont succeeds, it is very likely that other states will follow its example. The U.S. will develop a network of state-level UAP programs. Research into unexplained phenomena will become more transparent. Instead of secrecy or speculation, UAPs would be treated as a scientific and public safety problem. The proposal to establish a UAP task force in Vermont shows one important thing: people are no longer avoiding phenomena they do not yet understand. Instead of asking, "Is it an alien?" the better questions are, "Is it safe? How should we understand it?" UAP is not evidence of extraterrestrial life, but it is a reminder that the skies and the oceans still contain things that have not yet been explained, and science, not fear, is the best way to face the unknown. The truth is still hidden.